Alright, hello guys, Salt here. Today we're going to be going over the Strun Prime and specifically its Incarnon mode. So in this series, I take a weapon and I build it out and I test that weapon on its own merits, meaning I don't mix it with any external things like Warframe abilities, Warframe damage, pets putting statuses, anything like that. I just test the weapon by itself. So let's get into the Strun. So Strun Prime, it is a primary shotgun, and it's the type of shotgun that you have to reload each individual bullet. So there's like it's one of those. It's not like a magazine-fed shotgun. Now I have a blank config here, and we'll go over some of the innate things about the Strun. So innately, it has a little bit of punch through, which is pretty cool. You don't get that with some weapons. It's not a huge amount of punch through, but just a little bit. It is pretty like hybrid-esque status and crit for the main weapon here, not the Incarnon form. Now, if we go down to the Incarnon form, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. So the Incarnon form is going to have high critical chance. That's great. High critical multiplier. That's also great. And oh my goodness, look at that, 182% status chance. But I want to show you something that I'm not really sure if this is intended or not. So let me go back here. And I'm going to go a little bit ahead of myself and show one of the evolutions I'm using. So it's this one here. It increases status chance by 11.3%. So remember, that Incarnon status was 180 something. I think it was like 182. So I'm just going to switch this to the other one, critical chance here. And we're going to go back and we're going to look at that Incarnon status chance again. Well, now our status chance is 46 instead of 182. I'm not a mathematician or anything. Maybe someone that's better at math might be able to explain how like an 11% increase goes from 46% to like 182%. So I'm not really sure. I'm not sure if it's intended or not. But because of that, a little bit of a spoiler. We're not getting into the evolutions yet, but we're definitely using that plus 11% status chance. So let me put that back on before I forget to do that. Okay. So again, down here, good crit chance, good crit multiplier, amazing status chance. So 182% status chance base means that every time you put a 60-60 mod, it's basically going to be increasing your status by 100%, which is crazy. This weapon, depending on how you build it and if you're using like certain warframes, can reach 1,000% status. It's pretty crazy. So radial attack is going to produce blast as innate, which is cool. It's just an extra status we get to have. Okay, let's go into the actual build here. Let me refresh my little screen there so it's not all weird. All right, so we're going to be using Galvanized Hell for multi-shot. Galvanized Savvy for status chance. Again, every time we put one of these 60-60s on, that's about 100% status chance. So this 80% status chance is, again, I'm not a mathematician, but it's like 120, 140-ish% status chance we're actually adding on the weapon. So we're putting this on for status chance, but we're also getting direct damage per status type affecting the target, which we're going to have a lot of statuses, so that's going to be perfect for us. And then this weapon is hybrid-esque, like even by going crazy with going into status, this weapon still can hit yellows and oranges. And so it's still worth putting critical deceleration and prime ravage on, just to increase your numbers there. So that's going to be your crit chance and crit damage mods. We're going to be going for primed point blank for just a big, stupid, flat damage increase. And then we're going to be going for frigid blast and toxic barrage to make viral. So these two are going to make viral. One's the cold, one's the toxic. And again, they're both the 60-60s because these two are basically, that's 100 status there, and that's 100 status there. I know it says 60, but that's 60% of the base. So it basically adds 100 status and 100 status. And then we're going to add another 60-60 mod at the end to create heat. Just because heat's a really good element too, but it's another 60-60 mod that adds another 100% status. We're going to use Galvanized Acceleration just because it's a shotgun. The main mode does have fall off, so having galvanized acceleration does help us with shooting targets at range. A little bit more damage on them. And then we're going to be going for primary merciless for just another big stupid flat damage increase of 360%. And then the plus 30% reload speed is actually pretty nice for this weapon because, again, this weapon is a single shell reloader. So reload speed does, it feels nice on this weapon. Reload speed also is going to slightly increase the time it takes for you to go into Incarnon mode. So, all right. And so if we look at this weapon now with all these statuses we have on here, the main mode is going to produce viral heat. That's nice. That's cool. You know, it has a nice, actually 64.8% per projectile is still a gigantic status chance. So, you know, if this was like a regular weapon that was just 64, it would be like, oh, that's a good one. But on a shotgun where it's per pellet, that's really, really good. So that's still a crazy number per pellet. You know, it produces IPS stats. You have your heat, you have your viral. And then we're going to go down to the Incarnon here. And the Incarnon is going to be producing impact if it hits something directly. And then heat and viral. And then it's going to be producing puncture / heat, blast, and viral on the radial attack of it. So, and those are all going to be giving you more damage because of galvanized savvy. So, okay, that is the build for the Strun. And, oh, again, 655. So that 182% status chance, because we added a 60-60, a 60-60, a 60-60, and an 80% status chance, that 182 is now 655% status chance on the Incarnon mode. Now, there are other ways. Again, I don't use external factors, so this is going to be basically the highest we can reach on this video. But if you were to use external things, you know, there's a red Archon shard that gives you primary status chance 25%, and 25% of a 182 base is like 40-ish%. So like each of those is going to give you 40%. Like you can be reaching upwards of 1,000 status chance. Pretty crazy. Okay, let's go into the evolutions here. Of course, first evolution is nothing. It's just that you've gotten the Incarnon. Second evolution is also not like super exciting. I mean, so it increases your damage by +2, which is nice. And then when you fire, you get +5% multi-shot, and it stacks 5 times. So, you know, +25% multi-shot. That's nice. I like multi-shot. It's not a gigantic number, but it's still nice. This one here is also kind of meh. I would kind of take the multi-shot, though, over this one. So this one's going to increase your damage by +2 also, so the same thing. But when you have a channeled ability active, you get +4 punch through. Now this weapon has a little bit of innate punch through with like 0.8, I believe it was. So like you already have a little bit of punch through. Like, do you need more? Like having more is always better, right? But like I think I might want 25% multi-shot over the punch through. Kind of up to you. But this one is going to require you to have a channeled ability active, and sometimes that's a pain in the butt depending on what frame you want to use this on. So I'm going to be going with Blazing Barrel. In the third evolution slot here, we have projectile speed. Technically, this weapon has like travel time, but I don't even notice it, so I don't think this is even worth picking at all. This one here, Galvanic Reload, you would have to be putting electric on your weapon, which is not horrible, especially if you're trying to use the two big primed element mods. I'm a huge fan of using the two big primed element mods, and I try to use it on this weapon. But because of the crazy base status, you just get more out of those 60-60s. And so I don't think it would be worth using the two primed element mods on here. And so because of that, you're not really going to be taking Galvanic Reload. And so the next one here is just a dumb plus 60% reload speed, which helps the Strun because it's a single shot reloader in its regular form. And in the Incarnon mode, this is going to make you switch to Incarnon a little bit quicker. So I feel like Rapid Reinforcement's a pretty easy pick there. And now the even easier pick on this last evolution is going to be plus 11% status chance, which I think they might have. Again, I'm not a mathematician, but I think they might have moved a decimal point somewhere by accident. But we're definitely picking this one, the plus 11% status chance. The crit chance is nice, but not as good as like over 100% base status chance. And, you know, this one is also nice, but again, not as good as the like 100 and something percent base status chance. So we're going to be going for this one here, Elemental Balance. Okay, that's the build. That's the evolutions. Make sure I still have that one. Yep. And again, we're not mixing this with anything external. And so we're going to be doing this on a Big Dumb Naros with no Archon shards. No mods that affect weapon damage. No arcanes that affect weapon damage. And a pet with no sentinel weapon and no mods on the pet that affect weapon damage. That way we can just look at the weapon. Okay, so let's go into a 10-minute Steel Path Kuva Survival. And then after that, we're going to do a quick 10-minute Lua Conjunction Survival on Steel Path. Just because there's going to be mixed enemies on Lua Conjunction, you have to fight Thraxes, and they start a little bit higher. So I'm going to cast my 4 to double my armor, and that'll be the last time I use an ability. If I have to use an ammo pad at any point, I'll make sure I say so. I don't believe I'll have to, though. This weapon's not super ammo hungry. I mean, it is, but like you get a lot of value for each shot. Like you're usually getting multiple kills per shot, especially in the Incarnon.
Predictable. As expected, Grenier have shut down the environmental systems, sending modified life support capsules. Use these to sustain your environment or attach Kuva catalysts to begin harvesting.
All right, we're going to go into Incarnon here. And as you can see, it's just going to be yellows and orange crits, which is nice. Oranges are going to give you double damage. Yellows give you a little bit less than double damage. And let me see if I can get a good pack of enemies. I'm just going to like shoot one of these into them, and we'll see how much statuses are applied. Yeah, looks like down here there's a good pack. You know, one shot is like applying 20 plus statuses to a single enemy. So like if enemies are grouped up, I mean you're applying potentially, you know, 100 statuses depending on how many enemies are next to each other with each shot, which is pretty crazy. Nothing in this build requires you to aim in, but I just kind of have a habit of doing it because I use scope on a lot of my builds. Aiming in on shotguns is going to tighten your spread a bit, which some cases might be helpful, some cases might be not helpful. The Incarnate mode is also kind of like an explosive, so you don't really even need to be super, like I can just kind of like shoot it in the middle of this pack. That was one shot, and the whole pack is dead, except for these 2 dudes. They were out of the radius. And other than having heat on the weapon, I don't really have armor strip at all. Like this is just straight up, you know, large damage that's killing these Greniers. Yeah, 2 shots into that Eximus, and he's got about like 30 to 40 statuses. Let me try to kill a little bit more efficiently. That way at the end when we show off the kills, it doesn't seem like it's lower just because I was showing like specific things about the weapon. And this will also do pretty good damage against the Acolyte. It's been a while since I used this against the Acolyte, so I can't remember how much damage, but I'm pretty sure it does pretty significant damage against them. We'll see. Maybe I'll surprise myself. Maybe it doesn't. So I know a lot of my builds, like we use galvanized scope. We use a lot of things where you're like required to aim in to get max damage. And sometimes, I'm a PC player, and I have heard like on console it's a little bit harder to like always get like 80+% headshots on enemies. And so like a lot of AoE weapons sometimes are better on console. And so like this would be a good weapon because you don't really need to super aim with it. You can if you want to like tighten your spread if you're like going against a single target. But you normally don't need to. Alright, we're going to have the Acolyte. Let me get some Incarnon charges on here. So again, I mean, for anyone that doesn't know, to fill the Incarnon, you have to get headshots. So we got him coming. Let's see. Bam. There we go, and he's dead. Most of those shots didn't even hit him. They hit like kind of around him at his feet. So very good Acolyte killer. It's also very quick to fill up. It's a shotgun weapon with pellets, but as you just have to kind of get like close to an enemy, like throw like a full headshot where all the pellets hit a head, and you're almost filling it in 1 or 2 shots.
Extraction is ready.
The other cool thing too is we're actually producing natural slash. So this weapon does have slash. It does do a significant amount of damage, and because we are producing so many status effects, like even though the natural slash might be not like weighted the highest, you're still getting a good respectable amount of slash procs on these enemies, just because you have a crazy status chance. So if you think about it, for people that like don't, know the math or whatever behind it, like let's say 500% status chance. 500% status chance means that you have a 100% chance to apply 5 statuses. Now it doesn't take into account multi-shot. So like multi-shot, if your gun, like this is a pellet weapon. So if your gun is producing 10 pellets, each one of those has a 100% chance of producing 5 statuses. I don't know if that's exactly what this weapon has, but I just kind of pulled the number out of my butt to kind of explain the math a bit. So even though the slash weighting is not the highest, you're just through pure attrition of crazy status chance, you're getting a lot of slash procs. We got Malice. Malice is the most dangerous Acolyte. So he's going to put a bubble on me, and he's going to try to get me to kill myself. So I have the bubble on me. All I have to do is roll, and if you see, I dropped it right there. So now I'm safe to go ahead and shoot Malice. And he's dead. He's kind of like the biggest culprit of killing people in Steel Path. And most of the time when you die from Malice, you don't know why you died. You're like, why did I just kill myself in 1 hit? Or why did I just die in 1 hit? Like you don't even know that you've killed yourself. And it's because, Warframes, of course, you do so much damage. You're doing like millions of damage. Usually reduced by enemy damage reduction, but like you're doing millions of damage. And so when you do millions of damage to yourself, you end up one-shotting yourself. And that's what Malice does. He puts a mag bubble on you. And it's very hard to see too. It's kind of like a light green color. So I have a hard time seeing it. It does make kind of like a wavy sound. I don't know how to describe it really. It makes some kind of a sound that you can also hear if it's on you. But like if I'm in a group of 4 people, he'll only ever put it on one person. But when I'm in a group of 4 people, I immediately just start looking around me at my teammates and seeing if they have the mag bubble. And if they don't, I assume it's on myself. And I just don't shoot. You know, you can melee, so like you could be safe that way. But I'm a shooty connoisseur. I love the guns in the game. So I'm usually shooting. And this weapon is actually my favorite weapon on a Naros. And it's because, like, most Archon shards are great. And they, I'm going to start heading to extract here. Actually, I should get a few kills. That way I can boost my numbers up so we can properly see where this weapon would have got us. All right, so we're at 10 minutes. We're at 733 kills. That is very good. That is super good. When I do these tests, weapons that are average usually hit at about 350 to 400 kills. So being at 733 is amazing. I'm going to go into Lua Conjunction next.
So we learn the importance.
Do a quick 10 minutes there, see how it does against combined enemies and Thraxes. Or not combined enemies, different enemies. So Lua Conjunction has like Corpus, Infested, Grenier, it has all of them. Okay.
Inbox messages await the operator. I wonder what they've
Oh, that's probably Barrow Katir saying he's here. It is Barrow Katir Day. So we have the Circulus we're going to do. So enemies here are going to start at level 180 to 200.
Your weapons make music, and the enemy calls for a song.
I hate those guys. They always steal my weapons. All right, I'm going to use my 4 to double my armor, and that'll be the last ability I use.
The Orican Neural Sentry is attempting to purge you from this place. Stand by for life support.
Oh, like I was saying, this is my favorite weapon on a Naros. And it's because most, like, the Archon Shard system is amazing. It lets you, like, really push your Warframes to the limit. Like, oh, this Warframe would be so good, he just needs a little bit more duration. So you could, like, you know, put a Duration Shard or something on him. But with a Naros is just a big, dumb Warframe whose abilities kind of suck. So you don't really need anything for him. He just never dies. And the mistake I see people going with a Naros is they go full Naros. And you never want to go full Naros. You never want to go, oh, I have 10k health, I need more health now. Because, like, if you're going to die at 10k health, you're going to die at 11 or 12k health. So, like, you know, you're fine at 10k. You're probably even fine below 10k. And so don't use your Archon Shards for more health. You don't need it. Instead, use your Archon Shards for damage. Like, that's what a Naros needs. He needs more damage. Because his abilities suck. Yeah, I mean, his abilities suck. He just is a big dumb meat stick that doesn't die. So don't go full Inaros. Don't go full health when you get to your Archon shards. Instead, go switch to damage. Switch to focusing on damage. And so, again, going back, I like this weapon on Inaros because the red Archon shards, there's a stat you can pick for them that increases the status chance of primary weapons. And, of course, it increases it from the base value. But the base value of this is 182%. So a non-Tau Forge is going to give you 25%. And a Tau Forge will give you like 37-ish%, I think. And so, like, each Archon Shard, even though it says 25% status chance, that's from base. So each 25% status chance is more like, I mean, if you're a math person, please correct me because I know I'm going to be wrong. But each status shard, non-Tau Forge, that's 25%, is going to be like 40 to 50-ish% status chance. 40-ish, probably more like it. Maybe 45, like maybe in the middle. I'll just say 45. That'll be my number I'm going with. And so if you have 5 of those red shards, 45 times 5, it's like 235, 230, something like that. So 230% status chance from 5 red shards. Pretty crazy. They have the new ones too. They have the new Archon shards where I haven't really even looked at them and their potential with Inaros. Like you could have an even better selection with the new like the green one and the violet one and stuff. And that's why I'm saying like this is like 655% status chance. But mixing it with certain Warframes or certain Archon shards, you can definitely be pushing the 1,000% status chance level. All right, we got Malice again. He's the most dangerous. So I'm going to kind of stop shooting, wait until I hear the little wavy sound right there. I'm going to roll out of it, and now I can fight Malice without killing myself. Hey, Sinix. Kill this guy real quick and I'll read. I'm a bad multitasker. Some tinkering, but I'm almost ready for my challenge. Oh, for your Knight Veteran challenge? Hell yeah. I think you've been ready, Acinix. You've been ready. It's not that difficult. It's our clan, we have like tiers. Like if you have Steel Path unlocked, you get Knight. And then if you do like a short Steel Path Endurance, like an hour Steel Path Endurance, there's a few rules to it. Like you can only die 2 or less times. Any downs count as a down, so like you can't just like self-revive yourself. And there's a few other things. Like there's certain Warframes that are banned for the specific challenge, like Revenant. We hit a life support. But that challenge gets you to the next tier, which is Knight Veteran. And that's what Acinix is he's preparing for. It's not that difficult, though, really. You'll be fine, Acinix. Our Steel Path is actually quite simple. I put Wrathful Advance on Umbra. Oh. I haven't built out Excalibur Umbra yet, so I'm not super smart about him. I mean, I've leveled him to 30, but that was about it. So I can't speak too much on Excalibur Umbra until I build him out myself. I know he can be good, and I love that he comes with Umbral Formers, because I'm always hurting for those things. So I love the Strun and the Incarnon mode for it. I don't think it's as strong as like some of the like S tier meta weapons. Like, you know, I don't think it's going to beat the Torrid as far as especially the Torrid Incarnon. I mean, really, as far as like DPS potential. Which is why, like, I mean, if it's not intended for this having a crazy status chance, I hope that when they look at it, they go, okay, well, you know, this wasn't intended, but it's still not technically S tier, so like, let's just keep it because it's fun at least, right? It's a weapon that has a shitload of status, and it's not breaking the game. I mean, it's still not in like the S tier or whatever that, you know, the Torrid's going to be in. But it's cool to have a weapon that just is very unique in that. Oh, sorry, choked on my saliva there. Very unique in it's like crazy status chance, like not just good but crazy status chance. All right, we are at 79% life support. I think we've only had to hit a few. We're not like chasing life supports, which is always nice in this game mode, because sometimes with the weaker weapons, you just feel like you're chasing like every life support that comes out. I probably should move over to the next set, though, just in case I have to hit one. Where are they? 200 meters away. It's kind of painful. Enemies don't like to move with you in this game mode, and I don't know why. It could be that they're mixed enemies, so they're trying to fight with each other, but they're all corrupted. I don't know. It's kind of confusing. So let me move over to this next set of life supports. I'll hit like one or two of them just so I can top off before this last Thorax fight. Actually, it's right here. Oh, we're at 10 minutes anyway. We don't really need to worry about life support. So yeah, this very easily got us to very easily got us to 10 minutes. Weren't really chasing life supports too badly, and we're at 790 kills. It's actually more than we got in the other one. You're actually expected to kind of get less in Lua Conjunction just because you spend more time fighting fat dudes with the Thoraxes and stuff. It could have been, though, that I was explaining the weapon in the Kuva survival, and so I was being a little bit slower on killing. Whereas this one, I was just kind of killing stuff. But yeah, this is well above average. So this is an extremely good weapon. I would say easily like top 10 weapons in the game. It's not like near the top 3. The top 3 are still like real friggin' good, but it's up there. Take Stug only into an hour's survival. If it wasn't for the oxygen, I could with the Naros, because he just survived. But I couldn't kill enough with the Stug to keep up with my oxygen. So I'm gonna go over the build one more time here with the Strun, and then we'll end it here. So, all right. So Strun Prime, it's a primary shotgun, and it's one of those shotguns where you have to load each shell. It's not like a magazine shotgun, so reload speed helps this weapon. The the weapon is going to, let me go to a blank config just to show innate things. So the weapon is innately going to have, oh, here it was, punch through. So the weapon has innate 0.8 punch through, which is nice. You don't get punch through with certain weapons. It's also on the Incarnon mode going to be producing blast on radial attacks, which blast isn't the best element, but it's just nice to have an extra element. And then for the actual Strun, let me back that we got good numbers here. We are going to be going with Galvanized Hell for multi-shot, Galvanized Savvy for status chance and direct damage affecting the target. Yes, I overform things sometimes, Ace and X, because I do a lot of testing. And so one of the tests I was doing with this weapon, so I love primed element mods. And I will usually use primed element mods over 60/60s because they increase kind of like base damage. Like so, and shotguns specifically, because shotguns have 2 primed element mods. So you can get a lot of base damage with element mods, which is, you usually don't get. You usually have to put stupid mods like prime point blank on to get base damage. But because, let me go down here, because this weapon has such a high base starting status chance, you actually get so much out of each 60/60 mod. Every 60/60 mod is actually giving you 100% status chance on the weapon. And so because of that, specifically on this weapon, the 60/60s easily beat out the the 2 statuses, the prime chilling grasp, and then you have another electric one somewhere here, charged shell right here. And so, like, I had these 2 misformed because I was using cold here with the viral, and I was using the electric one. Now, electric's also not really the best status to have on. It is going to increase your base damage because it's just a big primed mod. But if I had to choose like an actual element to have on the weapon, I would go with like heat or like even flat cold, because flat cold doesn't really have a lot of enemy types that are resistant to it, but heat, of course, is like even better. So, and because I found out that using the 60/60s were better. Yeah, chilling grass for viral. Yeah. Because I found out the 60/60s were even better, I was like, okay, I don't have to go viral and electric. I can actually go viral and heat, which is the better option. So that's why I went with that. All right, going back here. Galvanized Salvi for status chance and direct damage per status type affecting the target. Critical Deceleration and Primed Ravage, just simply because it's a hybrid weapon, so you want to put some crit mods on it. So we're going to get our crit chance and crit damage out of it. Prime Point Blank for just a big dumb 165 flat damage. Frigid Blast and Toxic Barrage to make viral. And then Scattering Inferno for heat. And in the Exile slot, we're going to be going for Galvanized Acceleration. On shotguns, it's going to help you do more damage to enemies at range. And in the Arcane slot, we're going to be using Primary Merciless, which is going to give us a big dumb 360% flat damage and a little bit of reload speed. And reload speed is going to help us a lot in the primary mode for reloading. And it's also going to help us switch to Incarnon a little bit quicker. So, and let me go to config C again. Actually, I'm gonna, let me back here. I'm gonna kind of go back and forth just to show you guys something. So this weapon, I'm just gonna switch to this for a second here, and we're gonna go back into the build, and we're gonna go to a blank setup. So I'm gonna, here, okay. So this weapon, if you look at the Incarnon mode, it's status chance, 46%. Hey, that's pretty good. That's not too bad. But for some reason, when you go with the evolution, the very last evolution here, and you choose plus 11% status chance, oh, that 11%, that seems okay, I guess. And then we go back into the build, that 40-something% has become 182%. And that's why it's important on this weapon to pick that last evolution, because it's not just 11%. It gives you like over 100% base. And because it's a base stat, everything that has plus status chance goes off of that base. So these 60/60s give you like 100% status. This 80% status gives you like, I don't know, like 120% status. I'm not good at math. I'm kind of pulling numbers out of my butt here, but you know, so this weapon has crazy potential to reach like insane status chance numbers. Then to go over the evolutions here. The first one, we're going to go with Blazing Barrel. It's not really that great. I mean, it gives us plus 5% multi-shot, stacks 5 times, 25% multi-shot. Hey, I'll take it. It's not bad, right? I mean, 25% multi-shot's okay. This one here, it also increases your damage by plus 2, and then when you have a channeled ability active, you get plus 4 punch through. The weapon already has plus 0.8 punch through, which is, you know, a small number. I mean, plus 4 is better. But you also are required to use a Warframe that has a channeled ability active. So I'm personally just going to go with Blazing Barrel. Even if I had a Warframe that had a channeled ability active, I think just a dumb plus 25% multi-shot is probably better. Okay. In this slot here, we're going to be going for reload speed, because reload speed is going to be helping us reload our regular mode, and it's going to let us switch to Incarnon mode quicker. This one here is not really that good. And projectile speed, I mean, technically, I guess the Incarnon has projectile speed, but it's so quick that you don't even notice it, so I don't think this is even an option. So go with reload speed. And then the easiest choice is in the very last evolution, you're definitely going to go for status chance. Because, I mean, I'm not a mathematician, but somehow plus 11% turns into like plus 100 and something percent. So, yeah, that's the Strun Prime Incarnon build. Pretty much, I went over the build, I went over the evolutions, we did the gameplay. I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. If you liked it, give it a like, and I hope you guys are having a good day. All right, bye.